Welcome to the Peds and Pop Podcast, brought to you by the board-certified pediatricians from East Lake Pediatrics. I am your host, Dr. Mike, along with Dr. Cary. On today's episode, we are lucky to be joined by a special guest, Rosie Rodriquez, who is not only one of our amazing nurse practitioners, but is also a huge Taylor Swift fan. So today, we will spend the next hour reviewing Taylor Swift's 3 sold-out Eras Tour shows at Raymond James Stadium this past weekend. We'll take a deep dive into each era and also touch on our favorite albums and songs and the universal appeal of Taylor's music. There's a lot to unpack, so on this special episode of the Peds and Pop Podcast, it's all about T-Swizzle. Thanks for listening, and we hope you enjoy the show. All right, well, hey, Rosie, welcome to our Peds and Pop Podcast. I figured we'd kick this off with you since we both went and saw Taylor. Of course, you were there on Thursday night, and I went there with my family on Friday night and Saturday night. And overall, it was a pretty great show, right?
Oh, yeah, it definitely was super fun. I know for you, it was during your birthday weekend, too.
Oh, yeah. Spent the birthday with me and 70,000 of my Swiftie friends.
Yeah. That's what I told my husband, too, because you guys share the same birthday that was his birthday present.
Right. Excellent. He was so excited, right?
Yeah, he was so excited.
I bet. That is, it was quite a nice day. And obviously the concerts were great. Tell me, how did you get into Taylor? How long have you been listening to her? And was this the first time you'd seen her in concert?
So let's see. I probably started really listening to her with the album Red. Mm-hmm. Really got me into Taylor Swift, I'd say. Right. And then, no, this is not my first concert. So I went to her 1989 concert and then her Reputation tour. So the last one when she was here, I think that was 5 years ago already.
Right.
And then, went this time. So it's definitely one of, I would say, the best concerts. So my husband and I like to go to concerts, and she's definitely in the top 3, I'd say, that we go to.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, and that's very similar. Like I started, I was kind of familiar with her with Fearless, but just because we played it in the office and, it was our hold music, or, it was on one of our hold rotations, so I would hear it, or it'd be something my kids would listen to. I think at that time they were more into Hannah Montana, right? Mm-hmm. And I remember when I took them to see that Hannah Montana movie, Taylor was in it and was like a live act. And I was like, oh, okay. Now I can kind of put a name with a face of who she is. And then obviously, when Red came out, my girls were like all over it. And so,
they were probably at that age too. That.
So it was like, they're like 10 and 8, right?
Yeah.
So then they're like, oh, hey, Dad, we got to go see him. Okay. So I love going to concerts, and I love music. Yep. So we're always talking about that kind of stuff. So we decided we took them to there, and they loved it. And then we went also to see the 1989 tour. But if you recall, the 1989 tour in Tampa was on Halloween.
Yep.
That wasn't the most important thing. The biggest problem was that it was during the Florida-Georgia weekend. So,
of course.
So I had to strike a deal. We're going to go to the Florida-Georgia game, but I took them up and we visited our friends in New Jersey. And then we saw her at MetLife Stadium, which was pretty awesome because she started with Welcome to New York and you got the New York concert.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that was a fun show. And then I did see her with them again at Tampa Stadium for Reputation. And then we went obviously this past weekend, which was, I think it was one of the shows that I've seen. These were great. And I think probably because previously her shows were pretty tight, 2 hours, right? Mm-hmm. And then now she's played for 3 hours and 15 minutes and did 44 songs.
3 hours, 17 minutes on Thursday night. And I thought Tampa had a 11 o'clock noise ordinance, but she definitely went past 11 o'clock on Thursday night. So
yeah, she did that. And I agree. That's typically what the time is, right? It's about 11 o'clock. And usually the fines are pretty steep. It's like $10,000 a minute or something like that when they're going over that they have to pay.
Yeah.
So maybe that's a calculated risk. She's like, well, listen, I want to play these songs and this is how long it's going to take. And, and it's not like she was wasting time changing her outfits, using it out pretty quick. Doing stuff.
That was crazy. She had many outfit changes and she literally was on stage for 3 hours and 17 minutes. I mean, she didn't take a 10-minute break or, she's one of the only people I think I've ever seen that I can't believe the stamina she has. So 3 nights in a row, starting at 8, ending past 11.
Right.
And I was exhausted the next day and I didn't even perform. I can't imagine that.
Yeah, I was watching it, I was kind of, paying attention. She came out and her hair was all nice and straight. Like obviously she had just got it done. And by the end of the night, it's all kind of frayed out from the humidity and it's sweating all matted against her forehead. And she's just still, knocking it deep with these hits and the songs from her different eras of her career, which I thought was a pretty good idea, and how she kind of packaged it in that sense that, hey, it's going to be the Eras tour. She didn't tour with Lover and with
COVID,
Folklore and Evermore, and now it's Midnights. Mm-hmm. So kind of being able to reach back and touch all those albums in a kind of segmented way or a specific planned out manner, I thought it worked out pretty well. What about you?
Yeah, it took her from like the beginning, I'd say, to, kind of like now,
mm-hmm.
and you can see the transition to, and the different kind of like sounds that she's kind of gone through with her album.
Right.
So that's always fun. It's crazy too. I would say, there was like, 8-year-olds there all the way to, older individuals. And it was sweet to see some of my friends that have about like 8-year-olds or whatnot.
Right.
They've been Taylor fans, and then now they're taking their girls. So that was really like sweet to see kind of it evolving back around.
Yeah, we went there, like we had 2 different experiences with the fans, and we sat in the same section by chance for Friday night and Saturday night. And like the girls in front of us on Friday night were like, I think, middle school, late middle school
mm-hmm.
age girls. And, I'm just kind of, it was hard to miss, but they're in front of you and they are absolutely doing exactly what they want to do as far as dancing and screaming and not missing a beat. They know every word to every song. She played The Great War, which is, one of the secret songs off of the midnight exclusive Target release or something. And they're down belting that out, and they went nuts because it's the first time they played it in tour or ever. It's a live debut, right?
Yeah.
And so, and it's the kids. I guess this is my get off your lawn rant, but the girls, they had their phones, right? And it already irritates me when people
watch the concert through the phone.
Yes, they're like, I mean, the phone is in front of their face, right?
Yes.
And they're dancing like you or me would dance if we were the last person in the space station and we've disconnected every sort of communication device. There's no video, no evidence of this ever happening, but they did not care a lick. They were out there just enjoying every minute of the concert. It was pretty fun to see. And then like the next night we had like a bit of an older crowd in front of us. And then there's this lady, she had like all these bracelets that she was making apparently, and they were trading bracelets with my daughter. And, I just thought it was kind of a neat experience, all the way around. And the different outfits, and people would come dressed, I'm in the Midnights era and I'm the Reputation in the red and
Lover outfits, and,
right.
More of the country look, sparkles.
Sure. Oh yeah. By the way, I severely underestimated the need or requirement of sparkles, sequins, and glitter I needed to go to this concert.
I didn't say you didn't have a sparkly shirt on.
No, I have a strict limit of 0 glitter and sparkles that I use in my outfits on a regular basis. So I manage though. I still enjoy it.
Yes. Oh my gosh. But it was definitely a night for sure.
Did you get dressed up did you dress up in an era?
I didn't, not really dress up in an era. I just had a little sparkly shirt on.
Okay.
We went with 2 other friends, like couples. So the ticket debacle, definitely. Oh, sure. Yeah. So, we had signed up to be official fans to get the code.
Right.
But I don't know. I was unaware that not everyone was going to get a code. So that was surprising when that happened.
Mm-hmm.
So out of all my friends, my girlfriend's husband was the only one to get a code.
Right.
And at that time, I think she had only said she was going to be there Saturday. Mm-hmm. So then she kept announcing, okay, we're going to add, Friday and then the Thursday. And then by the time we got to purchase the tickets, it was just random. So we got Thursday night, mm-hmm. with, the first of the series concert, which is, it's exciting. We're the first ones, but part of me too is like, oh man, the middle would probably be better because she's got down pat,
Right. No, sure.
But it was great. The ticket thing was a little stressful, but we didn't have to, buy secondhand or anything like that. We got lucky.
How long did you have to wait for your tickets to come through when you signed on?
I think he was online for like an hour or so. So not too long, because I heard people that were stuck on there for a very long time.
So, my daughter, Elizabeth, she said, and Lily, they each signed up. I signed up. And I can't remember if my wife signed up, but either way, myself and Elizabeth got a code.
Okay.
And so, and I was like, okay, whatever. I wasn't, I don't know what I was thinking, like that, like this was going to be an easy walk in the park. Right. I was like, oh, we've got a code, so I'll just sign on and get on there. And all of a sudden I get this bar, and I signed on right at like 5 to 10,
mm-hmm.
and, it's got this purple bar that's like you're like 11th in line. Right.
Yep.
And I'm talking with Elizabeth. She's up in Gainesville, and I'm like, "Hey, are you?" She's like, "No, I'm on for I think Saturday, and I was on for Friday or whatever."
Mm-hmm.
And I'm at work, and I'm sitting going, "Well, this is really taking a long time. I got to see patients, and I got to do this, that, and the other." And I had another computer, so I would go back, and KJ would come and watch and make sure that nothing was going wrong. And I think I didn't get tickets until like 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I'd never experienced anything like that.
No.
And just usually I really have no patience. So I'm like, okay, I need to refresh. But I was like, if I screw this up,
you weren't supposed to refresh.
Like, I'll just leave it. It looks like it's working. So I'm not going to jam anything up. And it just went after just being patient, which I have no patience. But once we went through that, I was able to get the tickets for us. And then it just turned out Elizabeth got tickets like 5 rows ahead of where I was in the same exact section. So it was good. The concert starts with Lover, right? As the first era, and then goes all the way through down to Midnights. Do you have a favorite era?
Probably my favorite era is Reputation.
Okay.
So that's probably still, yes. I mean, I'm a little old school still, have a CD player in my car.
Right.
And that is what's in my CD player, Reputation.
Okay.
Been in there since probably Reputation came out.
Right.
So, when I can't find anything on Sirius Radio, I click on that CD. And my daughter, Lily, she loves Taylor Swift too.
Of course, right? Good.
She actually can sing along to her favorite, I think, of that album is Look What You Made Me Do. And she really? I feel like that's a mouthful to say for like a 2.5-year-old, but she loves that song.
That's awesome.
So I've turned her into a Swiftie too.
Yeah, see, you're doing it right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you could go way worse than Taylor Swift. I mean, she writes actual songs, right?
Right.
They have a structure.
Yeah, she writes them. She plays them. Have you seen any of her documentaries on Netflix? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's impressive.
Oh, for sure. She's, let's think about it. You take a song like Mr. Perfectly Fine, and you're like, well, that song is just not good enough to be like on a regular album. You know what? That's one of the ones off of Fearless. Have you heard that?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I'm like, that song, that is a hit song all day, every day. And it just kind of didn't emerge until she decided to re-record all her songs.
Yeah.
And it's like crazy how talented she is. And the, and that kind of like my kids always get on my case a little bit because I get a little bit irritated with when I feel like she's too talented to be making songs with like these kind of cicada hi-hat drum machines and over producing them. And I know she hears that a lot, but like when she was in Tampa for Reputation, this acoustic song she did was one, obviously it was one off of Reputation, but it was, I thought, man, that song is so good the way it is when she just plays it, she doesn't need to do that. Right.
Yeah.
And then she did. And then when Evermore came out, I was like, this has got to be one of the best albums. Not Evermore, Folklore.
Folklore.
Mm-hmm. Folklore came out. This is one of the best albums in the last 15 years. Right.
I mean, it was just, it was just her.
Right. And then she hit it again with Evermore, a few months later, which I think is also really great. And so then when Midnights came out, I thought, okay, because my girls were like, hey, Dad, it's coming out. You got to download it at midnight. And also there's one coming out at 3 a.m. So you got to get that for us too. So I'm like, oh, okay. So, I'll be up downloading these songs and I'm listening to Midnight to the Time, and it starts off with Lavender Haze. And it just like, was a little disappointed. I've really come around though. I really like that song. I just do not like that falsetto loop chorus that she has in there. And she drops it in a couple other songs on that album.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
I feel like of Midnights, I listened to it all first. I was like,
Right.
Okay. It took me like, I think a couple of times and I was like, oh, okay. Like I'm into it more. It took, it wasn't an immediate look.
Yeah. Some albums are like that. You got to give it a chance to kind of breathe a little bit. Mm-hmm. And I kind of, my initial reaction was not so much. Then I listened to 3 a.m. version of it. And I really still now like that the 3 a.m. version, which has Bigger Than the Whole Sky. I think that song is fantastic. Right. And it's a little less produced as far as I'm concerned. Right. Mm-hmm. But it's still very good. I think my favorite, I would have to say probably Red is my favorite kind of era for her. All those songs, I think State of Grace is one of my favorite songs of hers of all time. And that's the other thing, just to kind of go off on another tangent. She always like her albums, the first song of her albums are great. And obviously she does this on purpose. She usually opens with the first song on her album, right? And she always hits it out of the park with those, And I thought that like Red with State of Grace, and then even Welcome to New York. And then after that, it was Reputation. Oh yeah. Are you ready for it? Or Ready for it?
Ready for it.
Oh man. That album, speaking of that was the time when Elizabeth couldn't drive yet. And Lily had to went to a different school because of high school, middle school. So that was the Reputation era for me. So every morning.
That's how you equate it.
Ready for it every morning just to get us ready, and that was
the anthem song. Are you ready for sure? Yeah. School? Let's go.
Yeah, absolutely. It was great, So I would say, like if yours is Reputation. And like I said, Reputation, I don't think is one of my favorites just because some of those songs to me are they're good. And when you go back and listen to them now, she has, what's the one I'm thinking of? It's not Delicate. I was thinking, I get Delicate and Style and Wildest Dreams. Those kind of songs seem to be like they're kind of in the same, But Delicate, I think, is a great song. And New Year's Day, I like that one, which I think also like is kind of a continuation of that, or is part of the same. And I don't know, but Champagne Promises, it seems like it's the same type of theme of what she's doing. At least to me, it reminds me of the same things. So those types, I really like those types of songs that she has. So as far as now in the concert, you saw, obviously she had 9 different eras, and Reputation is what you liked. Was that also your favorite era live, or did you like some of the other ones? Like how would you rank
this concert?
Yeah.
I liked how she started out with Lover. I mean, I loved the Lover album too. So I probably liked Lover starting out that way.
All right, so Lover, she played Miss Americana, Cruel Summer, The Man,
which she hadn't played, I believe.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. We were the first to get that. So, nice. And I like that song. You Need to Calm Down. But I think that was like her drop single when that album came out. I think that was like right after COVID started. Mm-hmm. And then she played like Lover too.
Right, and The Archer. Mm-hmm. So what was the best one out of there?
I think The Man.
The Man, yeah. Mm-hmm. I would have to disagree. Yeah, if I had to pick one, I thought I liked Lover. I thought when she performed that was great.
It was great too. Yeah. She hadn't played that, so that was exciting.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so then she moved on to Fearless. Mm-hmm. What did you like about that?
I think my favorite song that she played from that was definitely Love Story. That's just one of, I feel like when you think of Taylor Swift, that song comes to mind.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm still in the day where, music videos were big. So I remember music videos, and that was still a time when she didn't, people were into music videos.
Right.
I don't think the kids these days watch music videos, really. Right. Like they still make music videos, but it's not like a thing. Like,
no, because you just get them on YouTube.
Yeah.
Right.
They just watch them on YouTube. But
yeah, I had to stay up till midnight to watch a world premiere video when I was a kid, Before my friends house, because I didn't have MTV for a while.
Yeah.
So, well, for Fearless, I thought, and I agree, it was close second for me, but I think You Belong With Me was my favorite out of that era in that particular section of the concert. And what I think about that is like she's able to kind of take a universal feeling, right? And then kind of just distill it down to a very, like, there's no kind of extraneous words. It's all perfect. Every word that's in her lyrics, and especially in some of those songs, are there for a purpose and they mean something, So what is it she says with the You Belong With Me? She's obviously, right, she's jealous that the guy she likes is with, the cheerleader captain, right?
Right.
And how many teenagers went in their life where they felt that way, that the person they liked is dragged down by their stupid boyfriend or girlfriend, and why aren't they looking at me, right?
Right.
And
I think that's the classic, high school teenage feeling, at least for.
Oh yeah, that's high school. That's what you feel, right, throughout high school.
Yes.
I'm much better than this person, and they're dragging you down. And look, she's wearing short skirts. I got a t-shirt on. She's the cheer captain, and I'm on the bleachers. Hey, what how that encapsulates 95% of every teenager in the history of the world. And so I think that's one of the reasons she resonates, right? I mean, she's able to kind of distill these lyrics down into a way that really, well, not only are they catchy and they're rhythmic, but they're purposeful and they're thought out, and it's she's able to like turn phrases, right? And she does many things that are, the way she kind of comes up with some of her, what she says gets the message across, and also there's like dual meanings there, right? Like, so I'm sure you've heard, obviously, the extended All Too Well, right? And she says, every time you double cross my mind. Oh, that's brilliant, right?
Oh, that is definitely
right?
a brilliant phrase there.
And I really, I was telling my daughters, I go, poor Jake Gyllenhaal, that guy got crushed 10 years ago, right? And then, and another thing, let me just give you another 8 minutes of it. and then to top it all off, I'm going to then compare you to Wooderson on Dazed and Confused,
Well, she just broke up with the 6-year boy, Joe.
Well, that was the talk when I was on vacation with my daughters. It was the constant, I don't know. They were kind of keeping updated, and I didn't know if it was official. Their word was maybe not. I don't know. And, but I did hear that she switched out Invisible String, which was one of my favorites, to The One, which also was okay, because that's one of my favorites too. But
like that too.
Was that linked to the supposedly linked to the change in her relationship status?
Right. That was the question, I think.
Right.
But she had been with this guy for like 6 years. So
oh yeah,
I
not helping. The next 3 albums, he's going to get crushed.
Exactly. I think we're going to get back to that, kind of.
My goodness,
breakup songs there.
Right. That you got to. Well, obviously, I think she made a point at least one of the nights to say that a lot of the songs are just made up stories, right?
That's what she said.
Right. Yeah. So
I don't know that I'd ever admit to that either, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess. I mean, it kind of does. I think you'd have to be leery as being somebody that wants to have some sort of agreement. Hey, listen, can you not name me any songs? And then also, or like, what does she say? And then the new one of the new songs, he's like, do you really want to know where I was April 29th? I mean, can you be more specific about what's going on here, please?
Someone knew who she was referencing.
Do you know or no?
No, I don't know.
I was asking my girls, I go, what's April 29th? Oh, all right.
Something. It'll come out eventually.
Unbelievable. All right. So yeah, so Fearless, you liked You Belong With Me. Yep. And I thought, and obviously the love story, I mean, I thought, well, I really like Fearless too, but I think if I was ranking them, my first was, I think, Folklore, because I really like that. Of the airs, Folklore was my favorite, and Fearless I had as number 2. And I think it was because the song selection, I mean, there's only 3: Fearless, You Belong With Me, Love Story.
3 from that album.
But they were, I mean, those were heavy hitters, man. They were really good. And then Evermore came up after that. How about that one? Are you a fan of Evermore in the Folklore era?
I think I like it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't, I'll listen to it if it's on there. It's not like one of the ones I like skip or anything like that. But I'd say they're not my all-time favorites.
Okay.
I want I like that pop sound. I think that's what it is,
Sure.
But I appreciate the sound of, Evermore and Folklore.
Yeah. Did you see the Long Pond sessions on Disney Plus?
I did not.
Oh, you need to take. She just plays those live with Aaron Densler and the other guy.
Oh, I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, no, it's you can I think and it's on Spotify too. You can just listen to sometimes if I ever get when I get a choice on the radio when I'm driving, it's going to be this Taylor Swift or that Taylor Swift, or now Morgan Wallen's creeping up in there. Every once in a while I can sneak in some of my songs, but generally those get the hook pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But yes, every once in a while we'll put on the live. It's basically a live studio version of Folklore.
Okay.
And it's good. Yeah, I'm surprised you haven't seen that. You should put that on your list.
That's on my my Disney Plus is taken over by Monsters Inc., Cars right now. So
right. Yeah.
I don't get much of a say on the Disney Plus right now.
We looked at the graph of what is played on Disney Plus in my house. It's Mandalorian, Boba Fett, Star Wars, and then Taylor, and then Netflix is going to be the Reputation stuff. Mm-hmm. And what else do they watch on Netflix or Hulu? They watched Friends. I think wherever one Friends is on, they watch Friends all the time.
Friends is another one of those shows that hits with every generation, it seems.
It's so funny, man. It's so good. It's so good. So with Evermore, did you have a favorite that you liked in that one?
I think Champagne Problems.
Yeah, for sure. That's what and my girls went nuts when they played Marjorie. And, like I'm usually driving when I'm listening to Taylor Swift and they're in the car. And, so I don't, I try to remember what the songs are or listen, but I just didn't really much remember that song. So I went back and listened to it. It's a good song, but Champagne Problems for sure, I think was the hit for that one. I liked Willow too, but I think Champagne Problems was the number one there.
Did your girls have like a number one song for the whole concert?
My girls?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'd be kind of, I think they really liked that she played Mean, played that on Saturday, and she played Mad Woman. So the acoustic songs, I think, were the ones that she really liked, or they both really liked, the secret ones. And then obviously she played The Great War on Friday and You're on Your Own, Kid, which was awesome. Mm-hmm. And kind of going back to earlier where some of those songs were overproduced, You're on Your Own, Kid, she just played it with the piano, I believe.
Yeah.
And it sounded great. Really good. I really liked it. But I liked just as much the album version. Whereas I wish I could remember the name of the song from Reputation that she played live. My girls always have to remind me. But anyways, where that was kind of a dichotomy. I thought, man, she has this. And why does she do it this way? I know, that's kind of, I'm just my generation or whatever. I think, she came from, here and now she's here purposely. And the songs are catchy and stuff. But, I think she kind of really did a good job threading the needle with Midnights, I thought. She didn't do that part there. But I guess, I don't know, what would you? I mean, overall, you got to hear Treacherous and I heard it was and Speak Now.
Yeah, that was on Thursday.
Yeah, I think actually now that you say that, Sparks Fly. I know Elizabeth, that's one of her favorite songs. She would like to have heard Sparks Fly.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I don't. Is that from the Enchanted or Speak Now album? Do you know Sparks Fly?
I feel like it is.
Yeah, and she only did Enchanted from that one. But yeah, I think that's one that they wanted to hear that we didn't hear. I would have loved to heard Treacherous. How was that?
That was really good.
Yeah,
because she did that on the piano.
Oh, she did.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
and I think it's been a couple of years since she's played that one too.
Yeah.
So that's always fun.
Did you see her on the Red Tour?
I did not see her on Red. So my first Taylor Swift was 1989.
Mm-hmm. So on the Red Tour, the middle of the stage, she like went up like this, kind of went around, I think, like a swinging arm.
Okay.
And so when she's singing Treacherous, she's kind of like climbing up this kind of incline, kind of as she's kind of went along with the story of the song. And I thought that was something I thought was really cool. And I really kind of didn't care for that song until I heard her play it live. And now I really like it. It's fun. Yeah.
I just want to say too, how these performers and singers are you know, like you said, on an elevated stage, walking up, trying to sing, like that is terrifying.
Oh my
You
God.
would be like,
Yeah. I mean,
we're
you have to have,
falling, like.
yeah, it's you have to really respect the talent and the ability to do all those things
Oh
at
yeah.
once. I mean, even just playing guitar and singing at the same time is the challenge. You know, if you're not kind of born with that gift, I think it's sometimes hard to let your hands go do something totally separate and then remember words, sing them, and not and still perform. You know, it's they make it look so easy, and you have to kind of think back. Wow, that is really challenging.
I'm not musically inclined. I never learned to play an instrument.
Right.
So no.
Well, all you do is, you know, that's fine, but you can appreciate music. That's important, and that's how you gotta make, you know, that's how you can show your love for what their talent is just appreciate the music that they put out for you, you know?
Yeah.
So now for you, Reputation, what was what was your favorite part of that era?
So I like Delicate, I like Ready for It. So I think probably one of my also other favorite songs that she didn't play on that is End Game, which she has Ed Sheeran on there too.
Yeah.
So, but she didn't play that. But I liked all of them, of course.
Yeah. So, but you would say Delicate is the top one.
Yep. Delicate, I think, is my favorite.
Yeah. And I think I really like Delicate, but I think Ready for It, man, when it came out, you knew she was going to start it with when she played here in Tampa for that tour, obviously, you know, for the Reputation tour. I mean, and that thing, I mean, as they say, slaps, right? I mean, that thing is just a banger, and it comes out and it is so awesome. I really, really like that song, and it was great to hear it live again. I'm glad she was able to do that. But yeah, and I thought that Reputation was a lot, like I said, it's probably not one of my top 5 of her favorite albums of hers that I would put in there, but I really liked the set. I thought the songs that she pulled out of it really represented it well, and it was nice to get a kind of, you know, you got the little, obviously Ready for It, and she played the single Don't or Look What You Made Me Do, which I don't really care for that song that much, but otherwise really good. And then she only did one song from Speak Now, which was Enchanted. And I don't know, yes, to me, kind of, and I'm like a fan kind of by relationship, you know.
Come on, you're a true fan now.
I like the songs. I'm not going to say, I mean, I listen to them. I don't tend to play them if I'm in the car by myself, but I will listen to them, you know, with them all the time. It's, you know, like I said, it's much better than what it could be. And to me, and I don't know why this is, but it seems like Speak Now is kind of like a kind of overlooked album.
Yeah, that's surprising to me too, because I feel like when I do listen to that album, I like the album. So
I mean, do you feel that way? Is that just some misconception of mine, or do you think?
I mean, I feel like that's probably why she only did one song from there.
Okay, sure.
You know, so I don't know why though. That just didn't hit, because I'm trying to think what year that one came out. Speak Now.
Was that between Fearless and Red?
Either Speak Now, then Fearless and Red, or like you said, it was in
it's around that area.
Yeah, around that time. So
okay. So then obviously she moved into the Red, and they were playing, you know, they had that little the dancer with the box and playing State of Grace, and I got real excited, but that was all you got for that. So what did you like? She did 22, Never Getting Back Together, I Knew Your Trouble, and All Too Well. What do you think the highlight there was?
22 is my favorite.
Okay.
And then, I mean, both We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together and I Knew You Were Trouble are so just catchy.
Right.
Like, you can't not sing those.
Right. They are catchy. I think We Were Never Getting Back Together was the first single, I think, right? And then I Knew You Were Trouble. And I always get those confused, which one is which, as far as what the first single was that came out. But they're both catchy. They're both
good. You're right. The two of them, I can't recall which one was first, but they're both like that catchy kind of same kind of thing, you know.
And I remember when the song came out, right? And I was listening to it, and I'm like, "That's Taylor Swift." Like, because she had kind of started to really make that kind of cross, right? From being a country star and losing a little bit of that country twang,
Poppy.
And now she's got this really good pop song that has, you know, some acoustic guitar in it and is pretty good. And I was like, oh, okay. And then next thing you know, my girls are talking about it. And then that was it for the rest of my life.
That's when the true Swiftie came out.
That's right. That's right. You know, but I was glad to put away some Justin Bieber and, you know, Hannah Montana went off the rails. So
yeah, I feel bad you had to be in that early Justin Bieber phase.
For sure. And then in your favorite song off of Red, no matter what, is 22, right?
I think so. Yep. Yeah. 22.
So I really like I said, State of Grace, I think is my favorite Taylor Swift song. But she has this other song on that album called I Almost Do, I think. Is that what it is? There's a song on there. I think it's called No, it's not that. What is it called? I'm trying to figure out. Because she has Sad, Beautiful, Tragic. That's what it is. You know that song?
Yes.
That song to me is, have you ever heard of Mazzy Star?
Mazzy Star? Yeah. I don't believe so.
You should. Mazzy Star is a kind of a...
I have to Google that now.
Yeah. And I always tell this to my girls. That group was a kind of a shoegaze band in the early 90s. And she has a song called Fade Into You. Okay. And if you listen to that, and that's the first thing I thought of when I heard that song.
Heard that.
Yeah, it's like, and she, there's another song on, I think, Midnights that gives me that vibe too. Almost like she's listening to Mazzy Star and channeling it. Because it's very, very similar to me, at least. So you should check it out.
All right. That'll be on my list to do.
Yeah, right? I'm sure. And all of your free time. Yeah. So Red, I think for me, my favorite was the All Too Well, the 10-minute version. I think it's funny that I really do like, because I love that movie, Dazed and Confused. Have you seen that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So and I was like, I first heard, I go, is she really calling him Wooderson?
Yeah.
That's so good. I thought that was funny. And then Folklore was next. And I said that was my favorite because I really love that album.
Yeah. So which one's your favorite from Folklore?
Folklore, it's a close battle between the one and what is it? Is it called Little String? What is it called?
Something String.
Yeah, I think it's Tiny Little String or something like this. I think it's number 7. I can't remember. But anyways, I love both of those songs.
Yeah, I think the one is my favorite.
Yeah. So I think my favorite and what I like the whole, that was my favorite era of the concert. I thought she did really good. I like My Tears Ricochet's good. And
I think that's where she had like the screen of, it was like a house, like in the cabin, right?
We were sitting on the side. So there's one song she's singing in the cabin and we couldn't really see her.
Here.
I don't remember what it was.
We were sitting like kind of by the pirate ship.
Okay.
Section of.
Yeah. So we were sitting kind of on the opposite side of the pirate ship.
Okay.
And so, and she used that house. I saw that little furry house, the planted house with all the plants on it. She sang that at the Grammys or used that prop at the Grammys or something. I remember seeing it on TV. So I wasn't really surprised when that popped out, but I thought that was pretty neat,
Yeah.
And what was your favorite of that part?
What, of Folklore?
Yeah, Folklore. Do you have?
I mean, I think the cabin. I don't remember the cabin on the Grammys, so I thought that was neat, like prop.
I don't know if it was great. It was something else. Maybe it was MTV or something. I don't know. My girls had it on.
I don't remember seeing that, so I thought that was just neat. And I liked it, like it matched like the woodsy kind of the butterfly stuff that she had going on. It fit it.
Yes. It was overall really, and I think she did a good job of putting the eras in a way to kind of allow the audience to get into the concert, and then you have some ebbs and flows of momentum. So I thought it was well placed, and when you're going to put like 44 songs on a set list, right? You have like
insane.
Yeah, you have I think there's me probably I would prefer to go see a show 2 nights in a row and have it be a little bit more varied, but you have to understand these things are months and months to take to prepare and practice.
Right.
And the production of the light and the sound, and then plus you have dancers and you have people on bikes and all this other stuff. It's not like you can just decide, hey, I'm going to go play this song, or whatever. I'm going to, let me just improvise something here. That's where she, obviously, when she goes to do those secrets or the acoustic set, then she picks whatever she wants, and that, I think that's neat.
One of my favorite things probably of her concerts are the light up bands. So I just love that fits with the music too, and the colors, and looking around the stadium. So the first time I actually had experience with those bands, I think Taylor Swift hadn't done this yet. It was actually Coldplay. I went to see, like, long ago, that had those at Amelie, or back then it might have been the Ice Palace still.
Right.
And that was the first time I'd ever seen anything like that. And then when I saw that she had that, I was like, oh, this is awesome. And Coldplay still uses those too, because we went whenever they were here. Was that like August or something like that? You know, they still had those like light up bands and everything. But
yeah, I totally agree. And I remember walking in, I'd never seen anything like that before until the 1989 tour. And I was just blown away with it being synced to the beat. And, you know, the colors are changing. So all of MetLife Stadium, and I'm sure it was the same in Tampa, you know, it was Welcome to New York. And it's just pulsating in these blue lights, right? And then when Bad Blood came on, it's all red, you know. And I was like, oh, this is, it really adds to the experience.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? It is really a neat type of, I mean, it's kind of gimmicky when you first, I'm like, what are they giving me, these bracelets? And it was like, oh, this is fantastic. It really is. And like, I love how they've evolved, right? Like in 1989, you get this big, huge rubber kind of silicone band, you know, and it's like this big. And now it's like a little Capital One, a little ribbon with a little kind of thing.
A little chip on it that was like this big.
It was. So that does add to the.
It does.
The experience, and it also reinforces what we were saying before, is like all that stuff has to be planned and choreographed. You know, you can't just decide, oh, okay, we're going to do this, that, and the other. So I certainly understand when people say, well, I wish her shows were a little bit different or more variation, but at the same time, she's playing 44 songs, right? And you know, you're going to have them in this order, so just stop whining, right? You know.
Stop whining. Agreed.
That's right.
Be happy she's touring again. It's been fun.
Yeah, for sure. And be happy she played 3 nights, you know. And I still feel bad for all the people that, you know, just couldn't go, or they couldn't afford to go. The tickets got so expensive, you know, because they were throttling the prices.
Oh my gosh. I know. So one of the girls I went with, her friend came down from Kentucky, and she paid way too much for tickets. That's right. Her friend. But she wasn't the only one, you know. She wanted to go. And I mean, one of my friends, you know, I've seen too, that they posted that they paid over, you know, what the regular ticket price is. And hey, if you want to go, and I guess you have the means, that's awesome. But it did kind of stink for the people that wanted to be able to go and, you know, couldn't go because of the issues with Ticketmaster. And then
that's really frustrating, you know.
Well, hopefully she'll do the concert, she'll tape it like most of the you know, bands and artists do now, and they'll get a way to watch it
for sure. For sure. It was good. And the next era, which surprised me, I was not thinking I was going to really like it as much as I did, but was 1989. But two of those songs, Style and Wildest Dreams, are like my 2 favorite songs off that album. And she played both of them, and I was pleased with that. What about you?
I like Wildest Dreams and Blank Space.
Okay. Nice.
Those are probably my favorites that she played.
And then as far as if you had to pick one song out of that era, what would you say?
Out of
from the live songs, from the experience of the concert.
What was that?
What was your favorite 1989 song she played?
She played. Well, I also too love to see her perform Bad Blood.
Yeah.
That's just also like a fun song to perform. So that was good.
Very good. Yeah. And it is, like I said, she did the same, or I don't know if it was exactly the same, but you know, it was all red with the lights. It was really a cool thing. I think, like I said, Style and Wildest Dreams are my favorite, but I think Style was my favorite when she played it last, over the weekend. And then she did the next thing before she hits Midnights is she goes into these surprise songs or acoustic songs. And I think that was probably my favorite part overall of the concert. I think it was, we were lucky in Tampa to have Aaron Densler, who helped write the Evermore and Folklore albums. And it was neat. He would just come from like way in the back, and she'd be like, okay, he's still walking. So you had to keep clapping for him because he had to go a country mile to get from the end one stage to the other.
Was he there both Saturday or Friday and Saturday?
Yes. So on Friday, he played The Great War with her. And on Saturday, he played Mad Woman. He played the piano. She just sang on Mad Woman. And that's it. And then he would leave. Mm-hmm. And she played You're on Your Own, Kid on Friday. And then she played Mean on Saturday, which I really like that song. I think it's pretty great. And she had played it live. The only time of all the concerts I've seen, she's only played it live just during the Red Tour. And I think she even did it as a bit of I can't remember if she did an abbreviated version, or I think I have a recollection she was out in the front of the stage and maybe she played the whole thing just with her and the acoustic guitar. But I mean, the crowd went nuts, man. They, not like they were going nuts anyways. But,
they went extra nuts.
Oh man, it was extra nuts with spice. I mean, they were going crazy singing, and
do you think it got as loud as it does in a Gator game?
Well, I'll tell you what, the frequency was much different. Okay, so,
screeching.
Oh my god! Like especially the first night when I was kind of around a cadre of like teenage girls, and they were letting it rip at the highest decibel right before you can't hear it. It was just at the top level of human hearing, and they throttled that volume for 3 hours straight. I thought, and they were so close to the screens on their phone, I thought they were going to just absolutely explode, And the other thing is that they would do this, they'd have their phones, right? Like, so they're filming it, they're watching their phones. And then when they'd stop watching, they'd still film it, but then they'd be like this. And like, that video that you're taking is unwatchable, right?
Oh, yeah. That is something that annoys me too in concerts when they're like watching it this way and then they're going like that. And I'm like, just watch the concert.
Yeah. And one of the girls you could see, and I think I'm just surmising here, but there's 3 teenagers in front of me, and one girl's screen, it looked like she must have taken all the hairspray she had and sprayed it on the lens of her camera because it was so blurry. I was like, and she was the one that was making the most kind of gyrations and dancing. I'm like, this is and then she's all worried about her batteries dying, and she's getting the different things and all the cords coming out.
Battery charger.
Yeah, she's getting the battery charger out. I'm like, listen, you just need to put that thing in your pocket and forget it, and look at your friend's video, because what you're producing right now is not going to be a quality that anybody else
is going to want to watch
without needing Zofran or something, because it's just going to be an absolutely
motion
jumbled mesh. Oh yeah, it was like she was on the Titanic. It was crazy. So I think from those back to the acoustic sets, my favorites were You're on Your Own, Kid, and Mean, I think, and I'm jealous. I think if I would have seen yours, do you remember what she did the other two?
She did Speak Now and Treacherous.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So I think I would have been most happy to hear Treacherous. Is that the one you liked, or did you like Speak Now better?
Speak Now.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. See, we can agree to disagree, right? It's coming from different angles, obviously. So then she closes with Midnights.
Yeah.
And she really did, what'd she do? I think somewhere around 6 or 7 songs, it looks like.
Yeah, 7 or 8, I think.
Yeah. So started with Lavender Haze, Anti-Hero, Midnight Rain, Vigilante stuff. I'm not going to say that. And that's the other thing is that, with all these girls, and not, I understand, but she's taken on a lot of cursing, I think, lately.
I was going to say, I feel like that is something new. And, you still have the younger kids that, like, I know you got to grow with it and whatnot, but that was something that I just thought was neat, that she was able to make still these songs without cursing. And,
obviously we're adults. I don't really mind hearing cursing that much, but I remember, like, to me, like, especially in the new album, it's like she's just throwing it in there to throw it in there. Like it kind of pulls you out of the song almost when I'm listening to it, that it's not.
You're like, what did she say?
Yeah, I'm like, oh, okay. I guess if that's how you wanted to have it, I thought that we were going in a different direction, but okay,
Yeah.
But I remember the first time I heard a curse word in a song was over the summer of, I don't know, between probably 5th and 6th grade or something like that. They played, we were listening to Violent Femmes, and they played Add It Up. And I was like, well, the first thing is they play Blister in the Sun. And obviously that is a great song and everybody loves it now that you hear it. But the first time you heard that song 40 years ago, I'm like, I was dying. I go, are you serious? Somebody's paying this guy to sing? This is a joke, right? And I was dying laughing. Like, what are you talking about? This is a great song. I'm like, all right.
I love that you remember which song was the first curse word you heard.
Yeah, well, there's one major curse word, and that was I'm sure I heard curse words in other songs, maybe, but that one
hit it.
I didn't think you were allowed. I thought the police were going to come. I didn't think you were allowed to put that on a recording. And I was like, oh. So then I was like, well, I probably should just start liking this because it's obviously these guys are cool, right?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, we're gonna wrap this up here. We have Midnights, and what was your favorite song out of Midnights?
Midnights, Lavender Haze.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had a hard time choosing between that one and Mastermind, but I think Mastermind I like the most. I'm really pleased to hear that. I would have loved to heard, like I said, my favorite song on that whole album is Bigger Than the Blue Sky or something like that. Mm-hmm. But that's not a song. I don't think that's a song that you could play live in that setting necessarily. It's a little kind of too slow for that, Yeah. But I really like Mastermind. I just think that's good. I would have thought, I told the girls, I said, hey, they should have brought Pat Maroon out and played Maroon. That would have been perfect.
That would have been perfect.
He could have been the special guest, and we get, Pat Maroon from the Tampa Bay Lightning out, and
that would have been fun.
Right. Again, one can dream, I guess.
Next time.
Well, yes.
We'll put in her suggestion box for her next concert.
That's right. There you go. That's right. Oh my God, that thing would be stuffed. Like, did you see, I don't know if you saw this, but there was a merchandise store outside where we walked in. We walked in. I mean, that line went to St. Pete.
Well, so they opened that Thursday during the day because one of our medical assistants knew I was going Thursday night because I work half a day. And she goes, Rosie, they're waiting in lines outside for merchandise. I was like, oh, well, I guess if I want something, I'm not getting anything because I'm not standing in a line. But the key was, and my husband went out on a slower song, and he was like, first of all, there's no line for the guys' bathroom. So he was very happy about that.
The loneliest place in Tampa Stadium is the men's bathroom. You could go in any stall.
Yep.
And
you had your choice.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say, I did that. I was like, I made that comment in 2018 that you could go, there was nothing, there's no lines.
Yeah.
But 5 years later, I go out and look, there is a huge line for the men's room and it's all women.
Yeah. I noticed that too.
I'm like, okay. So I'm like, do I have to wait in this line? Because I know they're not using the stalls, not what I was going to use. Right. And the poor guy who was in the line for the stalls, everybody knew what was going on there.
Yeah. Well, luckily, on one of his bathroom trips, he said during the concert, no one was in merchandise line. So he actually picked me up a shirt. So I was like, good. That's sweet of you. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. And I was, usually I get the treat of going to, deal with the stuff. But my girls were like, oh, yeah, all that stuff's going to be online. So we'll just buy it then. I said, okay.
That is crazy now too. It's, before it's like you had to wait in line and then things would be sold out. But now everything's online too. So you could just order it and have it sent to your house hassle free.
There you go. They don't have to wait in line at all.
Yeah.
Very good. All right, great. Well, hey, I appreciate you joining us for your first time on the podcast and into a deep dive of Taylor Swift and her concert. And we'll have to do this again.
All right. Sounds good.
Take care, Rosie.
Take care.
All right. Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Peds and Pop Podcast, where we had a special discussion about the Taylor Swift concert. We hope you enjoyed it, and we will catch you on the next one. Until then, stay healthy, my friends. Thank you for listening to the Peds and Pop Podcast from East Lake Pediatrics, featuring board-certified pediatricians Dr. Mike Jordan and Dr. Cary Ungst. This podcast is for general information purposes only and is not intended for treatment purposes or to promote any products, treatment, or services. This podcast is not a substitute or replacement for and should not be construed as professional or medical advice. In no way does listening to this podcast or reading, emailing, or interacting on social media with our content establish a patient-physician relationship. You should note that the podcast and social media are not private forums, and any exchanges and information posted, shared, and or discussed will be available to the public. You should not share, post, or discuss protected health information on these forums, as the information will not be protected by federal or state privacy laws. If you have any questions about your child's medical condition or treatment, please seek the advice of your healthcare provider. If there is a medical emergency, please call 911. For more information about East Lake Pediatrics, please visit our website at www.eastlakepediatrics.com or like our Facebook page at East Lake Pediatrics. The Peds and Pop Podcast was produced by Mike Jordan. The music used in this episode was produced, written, and performed by Mike Jordan.